Buenos dias, Zamboanga Peninsula, Basilan, Sulu at Tawi-Tawi. Ako po si Myra Espinosa para sa Kapihan na Zamboanga. Hatid po sa inyo ng Philippine Information Agency, Mindanao Communicators Network, Mindanao Cable Television, e-media at iba pang mga media organizations. Mapapanood po ninyo ng live ang ating Kapihan na Zamboanga sa PIA Western Mindanao Facebook page, pati na rin po sa ating mga cable television, sa Mindanao Cable Television, and also we are live via e-media mo Facebook page, as well as via radio stations and television channels in Zamboanga Peninsula and Basilan. Regarding po sa blackout na na-experience po natin in Zamboanga Peninsula and in some parts of northern Mindanao yesterday and today, we are still trying to get in touch po with the NGCP or the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines for updates. Stay tuned lang po tayo. Abangan po natin mamaya kapag pwede po sila makapagbigay ng detalye. Pero ngayon po, i-welcome muna natin ang guest natin for this morning for our Kapihan na Zamboanga episode this morning. We have the Regional Director of Office of Civil Defense, RD Manuel Luis Ochotorena, to give us an update po as also as the chair of our RTF COVID-19. Good morning, RD. Welcome back to our program.
Mayong buntag sa atong tanan ug sa mga suking sa atong televiewers.
Yes.
Of Kapihan sa mga.
Okay, good morning, RD. So let's start our questions, no? Kasi we are very curious kasi with the resumption of the bus travel in Zamboanga Peninsula, what are the requirements of other provinces on the entry of passengers? Kasi here po in Zamboanga City, they already posted kung ano yung mga requirements na nakakailanganin. Although in some areas like in Zamboanga del Sur, Zamboanga del Norte, what are their requirements also? Is it the same po ba with the Zamboanga City?
Actually, prior to this, as early as November, the Regional Interagency Task Force, Joint RITF-RTF, created a technical working group headed by the LTFRB to discuss on the resumption of public utility bus and inter-province P2P buses in the region. And so they presented this before we had our Yuletide break. The technical working group headed by Attorney Jason Tan presented this to the joint RITF-RTF meeting, virtual. And so this was approved by the joint RITF-RTF. And with this assumption, the requirements for this provincial travel, P2P, for LSIs and ROFs traveling to Zamboanga City, they must coordinate and submit the following requirements 3 to 5 days prior to travel: medical certificate, travel authority, coordination pass, proof of residency. That is for government-issued ID or barangay certification. Another one is the RT-PCR negative result. For those returning residents of Zamboanga Sibugay, all they need are medical certificate, travel authority, certificate of acceptance, and proof of residency. For Zamboanga del Sur, returning residents who spent more than 48 hours outside the province will need a rapid diagnostic test or an antigen, or the RT-PCR negative result. For the non-resident, they will present a medical certificate, travel authority, and coordination pass. For LSIs and ROFs going to Zamboanga del Norte, the requirements are medical certificate, travel authority, certificate of acceptance, and RT-PCR or rapid antigen negative result. If the travel is indispensable and for medical reason, referral from the concerned hospital will also be needed. The interprovincial or straight bus travel or P2P will have straight routes to and from Zamboanga City, Pagadian City, Dipolog City, and Ipil, Zamboanga Sibugay only. Yun ang mga requirements natin para sa ating mga travelers, ROFs and APORs.
Okay. So almost the same lang po, RD, no, yung ating mga requirements sa mga provinces. And I believe you mentioned already for the appors natin, kung ano yung mga requirements po sa kanila naman. Yes,
Yes.
oo, the guidelines for them. And RD, next question po natin, how can we ensure the smooth implementation of these guidelines and also refrain the passengers po from traveling with incomplete requirements?
Let me read well, the guidelines that was set by the LTFRB that they presented to the joint RITF and RTF meeting, which was approved actually by the body. These are the rules and guidelines that passengers must follow according to the Memorandum Circular 2020-051 of the National LTFRB. The first is pre-book tickets at least 48 hours before actual departure. On the day or walk-in tickets are not allowed unless for emergency purposes like medical concerns. Number two, no travel documents, no boarding. Prior to boarding at the designated terminals, the dispatcher or conductor, with the help of LGUs, must inspect and ensure that all passengers have the required documents. Number three is no mask and face shield, no boarding. Passengers are required to wear masks, face masks, and face shields in order to be allowed to board. Talking to other passengers is discouraged. Same applies to talking to your mobile phone. Body temperature will be checked. Passengers will, with body temperature of 38 degrees Celsius or higher, will not be allowed to board. If the passenger have fever or symptoms of COVID-19, he will not be allowed into the vehicle. Number six, physical distancing must be observed at all times. No standing passengers will be allowed. Trips are considered point to point. No pick up or drop off passengers other than designated stops shall be allowed during the trip. 8. Take note of the following vehicles. These are for the passengers. They should take note of the vehicle plate number or body number, the boarding date and time, and the route. These are the information that directly involve passengers. The memorandum also lists down several rules and guidelines concerning the bus operators and drivers. And what are these? They call it the 7 commandments when riding provincial buses. 1. Always wear a mask and face shield. 2. Talking and speaking on the phone is not allowed. 3. Eating is prohibited. 4. Proper ventilation and PUVs must be maintained. 5. Disinfection should be done regularly. 6. Passengers with symptoms of COVID-19 are not allowed to ride public transportation. 7. Proper physical distancing or the 1 seat apart rule must always be observed. These were the outputs of the technical working group that they presented to the Regional Interagency Task Force and the task force that was duly approved last December.
Okay. Thank you very much, RD, for enumerating, no, discussing all our guidelines. So, I hope if lahat ng guidelines ay na-follow po nating mga passengers and surely we can avoid po the transmission of the virus during their travel. And sana po na ating mga viewers, no, you already got the guidelines, loud and clear po yon, so that we can prepare ahead of time before we travel. RD, on the COVID variant naman po, if it enters the peninsula, are we prepared po ba again or are we expecting a lockdown po ba? How is the regional task force po or the TWG preparing for this?
Actually, when there were discussions of the new variant, the RTF actually wrote the National Task Force Head, Secretary Lorenzana, regarding the matter, because we saw that they were discussing the front door the front doors, which is the NAIA 1, 2, 3, and the Clark Air Base, the entries of the Filipinos who are working abroad in Luzon. But then I presented there that we have also the back door, which is also coming from the south, from south borders to Sabah. And I explained to them that there are routes from Singapore through the causeways going to Malaysia, and so it could be possible that the variants, because there were reported also new variants in Singapore, it could reach Malaysia, and then through the back door it could reach Zamboanga City. And so the action there was that through the commander of the West Mincom, Major General Corlito Vinluan, he actually engaged the different local government units in the Basulta area. And so they were guarding and patrolling the borders in the seas, so that there will be no illegal entries of people coming from the south border. And so if in any case, actually Zamboanga City came up with its guidelines already that they will lock down the city if in case there will be a case of new variant in the south.
Okay. Thank you, RD. We are talking about the variant, no, on meron na nga sa Sandakan, sa Malaysia, and Singapore. RD, we have a question from our Facebook Live viewer from Sarah Daniel. Good day po. Meron ba naka-update sa amin dito na, sa mga stranded sa Sandakan? Pakiusap naman po, tulungan ninyo kami dito. Gusto lang namin makauwi dyan sa Zamboanga. Kailan po may biyahe ang shipping lines? Wag po puro deportees lang kasi we will follow according your guidelines, please po. Kailan ang biyahe? Yun po. Kailan ang biyahe? Zamboanga to Sandakan. Marami kami dito na stranded. Sana po consider po kayo sa amin dito. Yun po.
Yeah, actually we stopped the trips of the deportees. We call them returning Filipinos from Sabah because of the high cases of COVID-19 in Sabah, Malaysia, and so we just have to stop that, and we will discuss the matter on our returning Filipinos from Sabah who are not actually deportees. We will start discussion on that.
Okay, thank you po, RD. RD, recently po nagpalabas ang province of Zamboanga, Sibugay with their implementation of general community quarantine. What will be the effect of this po considering that bus travels would need to pass the area? So that means po ba na hindi na sila tatanggap from Zamboanga City or from other provinces?
Actually, Zamboanga Sibugay province always follow what the Regional Interagency Task Force and Regional Task Force laid down rules and policies, rules and guidelines. And they should follow what the LTFRB has recommended and was approved by the RITF and RTF. So they have to follow that. And if in case there will be problems with that, conflicts, it will be discussed at the RITF, RTF level. And so we will sort of caution the local government units to give way to what the policy of at the regional level.
Okay. Thank you, RD. RD, we have questions po from our media partners. We have from eMedia po. Ano po ang take ng OCD regarding sa present situation po sa Zamboanga City kung saan ang mga fire victims from Cabato Road, Tetuan, temporary po nakastay sa Tetuan Central School na nagsiserve po ngayon as evacuation center where in fact meron po tayong evacuation center sa Kabatangan na kung saan dapat doon po sila ilalagay instead sa Tetuan Central School. Any comment po on this po, RD?
The evacuation in Kabatangan is being utilized as a isolation facility. So we cannot join them there, ginamit na isolation facility, and then place those victims, 5 victims there, all together with those isolated individuals.
Thank you po, RD. Next question po, posible po ba na ang OCD mag-suggest sa city government na ang mga COVID patients na nag-o-occupy sa Kabatangan Evacuation Center i-transfer sa Ecozone Isolation Facility considering may 4 na building na available po doon para magamit ang evacuation center sa Kabatangan in case po na may mangyari pong calamities, man-made man or natural, at magkaroon na naman po ng victims na kailangan ilagay sa tamang evacuation center at hindi sa mga school campus?
Well, they really have to discuss it at the LGU level. They have to weigh the pros and cons of this, whether to transfer that or not. Well, it's up really to the leadership of the city to whether to transfer the people there, those who are isolated, to other facilities. It's for them to really to act and decide on that. We already have it borrowed, lent to them, the facility, and so they manage it according to the rules and policies.
Okay, thank you very much po, RD, for answering the question. RD, lastly na lang po, any message po and reminders to our public, especially that COVID-19 is still around po, hindi pa rin po ito nawawala, and we are still awaiting for the vaccines. So ano po yung message natin, and of course ating mga travelers po na magta-travel na since we are resuming po yung ating mga bus travel?
As I've always said, that the vaccine is not really the panacea for this problem of ours, which is the COVID-19. We still the minimum public health standard. That is the only way that we can curb and yung mapababaan natin yung cases, curbing the cases of COVID-19 in our region. So, kaunting pasensya na lang, though we have the vaccines upcoming, but then, as I said, it's not the panacea. It's really instilling a discipline to ourselves as Filipinos and as a good citizen of our country. We should observe the minimum public health standard so that we will be able to leak all together and rise all together from this pandemic.
Thank you very much again for your time po, Director Manuel Ochotorena, for giving us all this information po. Talagang mahalaga itong impormasyon na to para maipaalam natin sa ating publiko. Thank you po for your time, RD, and stay safe po sa inyong lahat dyan sa Office of Civil Defense.
Stay safe too. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning and thank you po. Once again po, that was the Regional Director of Office of Civil Defense Region 9, Director Manuel Luis Ochotorena. Sa pagbabalik po natin, meron pa po tayong isang guest. Makakasama po natin from Securities and Exchange Commission po dito sa Zamboanga City para po magbigay alam naman sa atin patungkol sa mga annual reportorial reports natin and other mga details pa po sa kanilang office. So mamaya po yan makakasama natin si Attorney Ron Chua Santos po of SEC. Huwag po kayong alis, magbabalik po ang Kapihan Na Zamboanga.
Patuloy pa rin ang laban natin sa COVID-19. And together, we can beat the solusyon.
B. Bawal walang mask.
I. Isanitize sa mga kamay. Iwas hawak sa mga bagay.
D. Dumistansya ng 1 metro.
A. Alamin ang totoong impormasyon tungkol sa COVID-19.
Protektahan natin ang sarili at mga mahal sa buhay.
Beat the solusyon sa COVID-19.
Kaibigan, alam mo na ba kung anong dapat gawin upang iwasan at sugpuin ang COVID-19? Iwasang hawakan ang bibig, mata at ilong. Laging maghugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig sa loob ng 20 segundo. Linisin ang mga bagay na palaging hinahawakan. Kumain ng balanse at masusustansyang pagkain. Matulog ng sapat, huwag magpupuyat. Stay home! Sa wastong pag-iingat, ang virus hindi kakalat. COVID-19, kayang-kaya nating tapusin. Nasistress ka na ba? Nagpapanik o natatakot dahil sa COVID-19? Normal lang ang ganitong mga reaksyon sa ngayon. Pero may magagawa ka para mapagtagumpayan ang sitwasyon na ito. Ituloy lang ang pangangamusta sa mga kamag-anak at kaibigan gamit ang text, tawag o video. Tiyakin na ang mga bata ay ligtas at nasa maayos na kalagayan. Gawin sa bahay ang mga nakasanayan upang hindi mabagot o mabalisa sa panahong ito. Sa wastong pag-iingat, ang virus hindi kakalat. COVID-19, kayang-kaya nating tapusin. Kaibigan, huwag ka na munang lumabas ng inyong bahay. Maliban na lang kung bibili ng pagkain o may emergency. Tandaan ang mga sumusunod. Kung kailangang lumabas ng bahay, magsuot ng mask. Siguruhing may 1 metro ang layo sa ibang tao. Magdala lagi ng alcohol o alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Huwag hawakan ang iyong mukha. Sa wastong pag-iingat, ang virus hindi kakalat. COVID-19, kayang-kaya nating tapusin.
Nagbabalik po ang Kapihan Na Zamboanga. Welcome back po sa ating mga viewers. Ngayon po, mga kasama na natin si Attorney Rona Chua Santos, the Securities Counsel po of SEC Zamboanga Extension Office. Good morning, Attorney. Welcome back po sa ating program.
Good morning, Myra, and to your viewers as well.
Good morning po, Attorney. First off po, congratulations to the SEC for your successful campaign against investment scams po. One of these scams is a fake land developer. Please tell us more about this po and what other scams should the public be aware of, including online scams.
Yes, that's right, Myra. With the part of SEC in action, we were able to, the RJF Construction and Development Corporation, the RTC of the Quezon City has fined 3 persons involved with this developer, so-called developer, with a total fine of 2 million for illegally soliciting investments from the public. So this RJF Construction and Development Corporation has claimed to the public that it is a land developer accredited with the Pag-ibig and has solicited investments from the public, promising an interest of 60% per year. And this developer is not registered or licensed with the Securities and Exchange Commission to solicit investments from the public. And we are also informing the public as well not to invest their hard-earned money to these companies because these are not licensed to solicit investments. The companies are ShareLink Ads and Crypto Trading, Forsage, Crowdbeat-88.com, VTXtraders.com, Bitcoin Digital, and Royal Online Generation or ROG. So the SEC would like to reiterate that those persons who are not licensed to solicit investments from the public shall suffer a fine of a maximum of 5 million or imprisonment of 21 years or both upon the discretion of the court.
Thank you po, Attorney, for elaborating, no? Attorney, next naman po, please share with us the important feature of the SEC Memorandum on the Prohibition on Unfair Debt Collection Practices of Financing Companies and Lending Companies. Ito po kasi, for sure, marami pong curious dito. Go ahead po, Attorney.
Yes, for the SEC Memorandum Circular number 18, series of 2019, this is the unfair debt collection practices for financing and lending companies. So the SEC has prohibited the financing companies, lending companies, as well as their third-party service providers to harass their debtors. So they are not their borrowers, I mean. So those financing and lending companies are not or are prohibited to use abusive insults or violent threats in collecting the debts from their borrowers.
Okay. Thank you po, Attorney. Okay, next question po tayo. Recently po, the SEC revoked Super Cash Lending's license.
Yeah.
What happened po dito, Attorney?
Yes, yung Super Cash Lending po, yung license nila, it was revoked by the SEC because they are using um, violating the unfair collection debt practices. And their license has been revoked by the SEC for violating this memorandum circular. They are using abusive insults or threats against their borrowers. So that's why their license was revoked by the SEC. And we would like to inform as well for those financing and lending companies if they will violate the unfair collection debt practices by harassing their borrowers or um, informing details against them, they will suffer also a penalty from the SEC. So para sa mga lending companies, for the first offense, meron pong penalty of 25,000. And then for the financing, 50,000. And for the second offense, 50,000 for the lending, then 100,000 for the financing companies. And kapag third offense na po ang mga financing and lending companies, then the fine will be up to 1 million pesos po. And they can also suffer the possible revocation or suspension of their license to operate as financing and lending companies.
Attorney, I have follow-up question po, no? Ano po yung, ito po yung mga penalties natin. These are our penalties. So, how do we monitor it? Paano po natin ito na monitor? Iniisa-isa po ba natin to? Or pwede rin pong mag-report mismo yung mga clients po nitong mga lending companies na tingin nila na na-abuse na sila on this. So, they can also report. Paano po natin ito na monitor?
Yes, that's right. For the unfair collection debt practices, yung public po mismo, yung mga clients po mismo, if they are being harassed by these lending and financing companies, then they can file a complaint with us dito po sa opisina po ng SEC. So pumunta lang po sila dito and meron po kaming form for that in order for them to file their complaint. And we go to a due process. So tatawagin po namin yung representative ng company and then we will call for a conference dito po sa SEC office to verify po based on their evidence if may violation po and then the appropriate fine will be penalized.
Okay. Thank you po, Attorney. Attorney, next question po natin. Ang SEC revokes Super Cash Lending's license. So, paano po ito? Can you tell us more about this po?
So after po yung revocation ng SEC, may penalty po din po yun sila aside from the revocation. So hindi na po sila licensed to operate as a lending company. So kung gusto po nila maibalik yung lisensya nila, then they have to file a petition to the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Thank you po. Next po, any other updates po? What would you like to share po on the part po of your office for Securities and Exchange Commission po?
So meron po kaming Memorandum Circular number 28, Series of 2020, which directs all corporations, one-person corporation, partnerships, as well as associations, to submit to our office the official and valid email address as well as the official and valid cell phone numbers and the alternate email and cell phone numbers on or before February 22, 2021. Ang gusto po ng SEC is madali pong ma-communicate yung mga korporasyon. That's why we would like, especially po, dahil pandemic po ngayon, mahirap po ang communications natin face-to-face. So, the SEC would like to easily approach yung mga taong representatives of these corporations by having their email address and cell phone numbers. So I reiterate, you have to submit your your valid and alternate email and cell phone number sa SEC on or before February 22, 2021. Kasi po may penalty po if you are not able to submit your official and alternate email and cell phone numbers, may penalty po of 10,000 pesos.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much po, attorney, for the update po and for your yung etong mga information natin, no, na na-share sa ating mga viewers also. So if you have any more updates po, we can openly share po yan sa ating public. And thank you very much for sharing this, especially po sa ating mga yung mga lending companies, sa mga online scams. This is very important po ngayon, lalo na sa panahon po ng pandemic. Thank you po. So yun po na-mention ni attorney kanina yung mga contact numbers, yung office po nila, they are open po for your complaints. Pwede po kayo doong bumisita and doon rin sa ating mga complaints natin, pwede rin kayong tumawag. Thank you very much po, attorney, for your time and for this opportunity.
Yes, Myra. Idagdag ko lang din,
Yes po.
Myra.
Go ahead po.
We will also be having a series of webinar.
Mm-mm.
For those who are interested, our webinar will be, again, detection and avoidance of investment scams. Our webinar will also be company registration as well sa mga gusto pong malaman kung paano po mag-register as a corporation, one-person corporation or association. So you are all invited to this webinar. Just call us po and inquire and look for Ria Kapin para po malaman ang mga dates and the registration links. So please call SEC at 991-7163 or 993-1437 or mobile number 0953-325-2934.
Thank you very much, attorney. Yun po, open po sila. Meron po silang mga webinars, series of webinars. So if you are interested to join po, please po, yun, yung mga details na na-mention kanina ni attorney and sa kanilang Facebook page rin po. Thank you very much once again from Securities and Exchange Commission po, Attorney Rona Chua Santos. Thank you, attorney. Stay safe po.
Thank you, Myra.
Okay. So ngayon po, i-welcome na po natin yung ating next guest naman. This is very important, very timely po ngayon. We have Ma'am Beth Ladaga po, Corporate Communications and Public Affairs Lead Specialist po of NGCP via phone patch po. Good morning, Ma'am Beth.
Hi, good morning, Ma'am Myra. Good morning sa lahat ng mga nakikinig ngayon at online ngayon sa programa ng PIA9.
Okay. Ma'am Beth, ito po no, ang first question po natin. We have been experiencing power outages since yesterday po and until today. Please explain po the cause, until when po yung blackout and what areas are affected po.
Okay, just today at 8:30 a.m., our remaining line, August 5, Aurora, 138 kV line, stripped. And ongoing na yung line patrol ng ating mga line personnel to verify on the root cause. This is, kumbaga, kahapon din, we experienced also power interruptions due to the implementation ng NGCP ng manual load dropping sa ating mga feeders ng power customers. Because of the outage of our Balui Aurora 138 kV line caused by the toppling of tower due to sabotage. This is tower number 60 located in Puuna, Tangkal, Lanao del Norte. Based on reports, there was this intentional perforation of the transmission line parts causing the power interruption yesterday of the line at 10:13 a.m. January 18. So because of this incident, Ma'am Myra, as I mentioned earlier, GCP implemented manual load dropping to our customers, including Samsoreco 1, Samsoreco 2, Zaneco, Muelsi 1, Muelsi 2, and Laneco. So this is actually part of Zamboanga Peninsula, the entire Misamis Occidental, and parts of Lanao del Norte, starting at 10:17 a.m. kahapon.
So ngayon po, Ma'am Beth, hanggang kailan po, do we have exact time kung hanggang kailan po tayo blackout dito sa Zamboanga Peninsula?
As of today kasi, ma'am, I mentioned also that the remaining 138 kV lines, kasi dalawang lines, 138 kV lines, servicing the 7 power customers, electric cooperatives in northwestern Mindanao area. Unfortunately, for the other line, it tripped again at 8:30 kaninang umaga, rendered the total blackout ng entire Zamboanga Peninsula, Misamis Occidental, and parts of Lanao del Norte or the northwestern Mindanao area. As of now, our line personnel are still conducting line patrol to determine the root cause, pero hindi na pa natin alam kung kailan talaga ma-restore. On the part ng NGCP naman, mabilis lang naman mag-restore si NGCP. NGCP can easily restore the tower, especially yung kahapon na toppled tower number 60. We are just concerned on the yung effect, no, the difficulties faced by the residents who have to suffer through the prolonged power interruptions.
Ma'am Beth, approximately po ilang hours po natin ito? Do we have approximate time po kung ilang oras natin ito maaayos? Usually po, based from
What do you mean, ma'am, on the restoration?
Yes po.
Ay hindi pa natin alam kung kailan ma-restore kasi dalawang lines na na-out, ma'am eh.
Okay.
For yesterday, itong tower number 60, yun nga nasabi ko na NGCP can easily restore the tower. As soon as the area is secured, mag-start na yung pag-restore sa tower number 60 doon sa Tangkal. For today naman, di pa natin na-determine kung ano yung root cause. But kasi total blackout ng buong northwestern Mindanao area. And we are coordinating for the other power customers to kung meron silang mga embedded generators to run. Like for example in our case in Samselco.
Yes. Okay. So hindi pero
But Ma'am Myra, kahapon kasi we have implemented manual load dropping. So depende kasi kung ilang minutes ang na-impose natin for a certain power customer. Hindi kasi pari-pariho yung oras kasi we implemented manual load dropping. I would like to mention that this is to preserve sana to avoid overloading doon sa kabilang line, yung other or the remaining 138 kV line. Yun yung sa yesterday kasi mayroong manual load dropping. So we have to hindi na sabi overload kasi maximum capacity, carrying load capacity ng isang linya is only 130 megawatts. And hindi tayo pwede lalampas doon kaya nagkaroon tayo ng manual load dropping. Unfortunately for today, wala nang manual load dropping kasi yung dalawang lines na talaga ang out.
pero sana po Ma'am Beth no, hindi ito abutan ng kinabukasan yung ating blackout, yung total blackout. Hopefully po.
Yes, we are working on it, on the restoration, and we will give details kung further details on it.
Okay. Ma'am Beth, in your press statement po, you mentioned that the cause was sabotage. Paano po ito nangyari? May leads na po ba? Sinong responsible po?
We are still to identify on the perpetrators of the sabotage. NGCP is working with the authorities to secure the area and to identify kung sino itong mga may kagagawan sa toppling of tower yesterday doon sa Tangkal. And sa NGCP naman ay we would like to emphasize that itong sabotage ng transmission lines namin and structures will only serve doon sa pag-increase ng burden ng ating mga tayo sa publiko na naka-experience ng prolonged power interruptions. Ang amin ng Myra is NGCP is working to restore the said lines kasi dalawa na, the lines. As it continues to investigate the cause of the outage. For this particular August 5 Aurora 138 kV line, we are still to give you updates on this as soon as we have gathered the reports from the field. And we would like also to appeal, NGCP continues to appeal sa publiko, sa local and national government, and the local community leaders to of course help Number one, identify the perpetrators of the sabotage yesterday and to prevent further power interruptions. And number two, to help us safeguard these power facilities.
Okay. Thank you po. Ma'am, we have a question from Doc Cecil Aboy po. Part na ba ng number 60 kV Baloy, Aurora ang blackout today? I think na-mention to kanina, ma'am.
Yes. I would like to mention again, Ma'am Myra, there are two lines, 138 kV lines serving the 7 electric cooperatives in the entire northwestern Mindanao area. Kasama na dito si Samcelco. Yesterday, the other line, the 138 kV line, the Balui Aurora, tripped because of this toppled tower due to sabotage in Tangka. This is tower number 60. And today also, this is supposed to be the remaining line, 138 kV line, na kaya nagkaroon tayo ng manual load dropping kahapon kasi meron pa tayong isang linya. However, the line tripped at 8:30 this morning, so kaya nagkaroon tayo ng total blackout in the entire northwestern Mindanao area.
Okay, thank you po again, Ma'am Beth, for clarifying it. Ma'am, what actions will you take to prevent similar incidents po in the future?
Pardon, ma'am?
What actions po will you take, the NGCP, to prevent similar incidents po in the future?
We are coordinating with our local authorities, coordinating with, of course, the partnership with the military to syempre, no, they are enforcing support doon sa pag-secure ng lines. But I would like to reiterate talaga, Ma'am Myra, no, it's our appeal doon sa publiko. Kasi tayo nakakita ng ating mga structures kasi visible siya. Ang local at national government, of course, ang ating mga local community leaders to help us secure the lines. We have this commitment for safe and reliable power transmission doon sa ating mga power customers so that we will enjoy, tayo sa mga konsumante o power, will enjoy reliable, continuous 24/7 na ilaw, power. However, we cannot, kumbaga, more than the mandate is a commitment, but we cannot perform this commitment without the support of every stakeholders. That is why we continue to appeal to the public, tayo, to help us safeguard these power facilities. Kasi wala naman kaming magagawa kung hindi tayo magtulungan. Especially itong mga powers namin na nasa malayong lugar. And those mga local communities doon, itong mga host communities, itong mga residente na makikita nila malapit doon sa ating mga struktura, please help us protect these power lines. Kasi if like merong mangyaring toppling of tower, lahat po tayo, kahit yung incident ay nandoon sa Lanao del Norte, dito sa Tangkal, but the entire northwestern Mindanao area, residents and sa publiko will suffer for prolonged power interruptions.
Thank you po, Ma'am Beth, for your message po. Lastly na lang po, closing message po natin, other information po to assure our public po. Go ahead po, Ma'am
Yes.
Beth.
Oo. Ma'am Myra, NGCP is working on the immediate restoration of these lines. And na-mention ko na yan earlier. But if you want to, I would like to mention also itong mga hotline numbers namin, Ma'am Myra, in case kung meron sila ma-observe na suspicious activities surrounding or dyan malapit sa ating mga power facilities, please text us at these lines. For TIP NGCP Globe line, we have 0917 847 6427. And for TIP NGCP Smart line, it's 0918 847 6427. Again, Ma'am Myra, I would like to reiterate our commitment for safe and reliable power transmission service.
Thank you po once again, Ma'am Beth. And yun po, na-mention ni Ma'am Beth yung kanilang mga hotline numbers. Please po, para para rin po ito sa ating lahat, no? It is for everyone. So if you see po suspicious po dun sa kanilang mga lines po, please report po agad sa NGCP. Ma'am Beth, thank you very much for your time po. I know this is a short notice po. Thank you po for the information. This is very
Thank
important.
you also for this time, Ma'am Maria, that we are able to share the
Yes.
information to the public, and we will hear, and they are, kumbaga yung appeal namin ay naringgan. We have heard our appeal to the public, to everyone, to the local and national government, tayong lahat, to help us safeguard these power facilities.
Okay. Thank you po once again. That was Ma'am
Thank you,
Elizabeth
ma'am,
Ladaga
and
po.
good
Thank you,
morning.
ma'am. Good morning. Stay safe po. Okay, so naka-flash po sa ating mga screen ngayon ang hotline numbers po ng NGCP. So if you have something to report po or concerns, please contact them right away po. Once again, that was Ma'am Elizabeth Ladaga po of NGCP. Maraming salamat po sa ating impormasyon na na-share ngayon sa ating publiko. So yun po, mag-antay lang po tayo para sa ating power restoration. Ginagawa na po ng NGCP ang kanilang makakaya para po maibalik ito agad. So yun po, maraming salamat sa lahat ng ating mga guests ngayong araw. We have RD Ochotorena of OCD, we have Attorney Chua Santos of SEC naman, and of course, Ma'am Beth Ladaga of NGCP. Thank you po sa ating mga viewers. Reminders pong muli, Zamboanga City is still under MGCQ. Huwag po tayong maging pasaway. Wear your face mask, face shield, and stay at home po. Practice frequent hand washing. Good news naman po, Mayor Bank Limaco signed an agreement with the UK's AstraZeneca pharmaceutical company to purchase 410 doses of COVID-19 vaccines for Zamboanga City residents. Please stay tuned lang po sa Facebook page ni Mayor Bank Limaco for further announcement. Public advisory from the SSS, the Social Security System, released the second batch of January 2021 pensions since January 15, 2021 through the Philippine Electronic Fund Transfer System and Operations Network or PESONET and other checkless disbursement channels. Pensioners covered are those whose date of contingency is from the 16th of the last day of the month and are receiving their pensions through PESONET, participating banks or e-wallets or via cash pickup arrangement at M. Lulier or through DBP Cash Padala. The said pensioners can already withdraw their January 2021 pensions. On the other hand naman, pensioners who are still receiving their pensions through checks or non-PESONET participating banks will receive their January 2021 pensions on their date of contingency or all disbursement schedule. Special thanks po muli sa ating mga media friends and followers in Zamboanga Peninsula, Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi for tuning in. Stay tuned po sa PIA Western Mindanao Facebook page and please like our page for truthful news and information. Thank you to our regular partners, DICT Mindanao Cluster 1, Department of Agriculture Region 9, eMedia Mo, Solid, Mindanao Cable Television, RMN DXRZ Zamboanga City, RMN DXPR Pagadian City, RPND XXX Zamboanga, FEBC DXAS, Radyo Pilipinas, DXNO Basilan, DXGD Bongao Tawi-Tawi, City Government of Zamboanga PIO Team, Philippine National Police, Regional Office 9, Team Tabac, Victory Zamboanga del Sur Facebook page, Ascenso Pagadian Facebook page, Regional Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases, DOH 9, DILG 9, Zamboanga Press Club Incorporated, and Mindanao Communicators Network. Once again po, maraming salamat po. And stay safe po sa ating lahat. Tiyanek Widaw. Thank you very much to our PIA technical team. Kahit blackout po ay nagawa natin ng paraan itong ating programa para po makapagbigay ng mahalagang impormasyon sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat. Ito po si Myra Espinosa para sa Kapihan Na Zamboanga. Muchísimas gracias.